Hi, guys. My name is Amena K. Thornton, and you are listening to the One Up podcast. You can see these videos as well by going to amena.media in your web browser. Today, we have another guest coming on talking about her struggle to success story in the Message of Hope program. Message of Hope program, people come on and talk about all kinds of things. We talk about where they started in life and where they are now, and all the amazing stories in between, and how to grow through each transition in life. Melissa's here today, and she's going to talk about basically becoming successful after dropping out of school, right? Is it correct? And yeah, Melissa is here. Let me say your last name, Melissa, so everybody knows. Fino, right? Is that correct? Melissa Fino. Okay. So Melissa Fino is taking some time out of her busy schedule today to come share her message of hope with us all and explain what happened. Why did you drop out? Was it something intentional or not?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me today. Thank you for, scheduling me into your day. I did drop out of, I did drop out of high school at the age of 16.
Okay.
And the reason being I was a rebellious teenager and I was
You're like, I don't feel like going to school. I'm just out.
Yeah. I don't even remember how many days I had actually missed of my junior year, but I guarantee that it was at least a third of it.
Okay, a third. There's just quite a bit. It's like, what is that, like 4 months at least? Like basically, yeah, quite a while.
Yeah, it was a lot of time. So in this kind of like weird shift, my high school guidance counselor had suggested to my mom, he's like, listen, your daughter is very intelligent, but she's not thriving here.
Yeah.
It's not working out, this is actually probably the worst place for her to be in because she's just pushing against it, which is a resistance that we all feel so many times.
Oh, yeah.
So he suggested that, I get out of school, and my mom pulled me out of school at the age of 16. And then I actually went to community college at the age of 16.
Okay, that's better probably, because you get to choose, I guess, at this age, right?
Oh yeah, but I dropped out of community college as well.
You just didn't find a passion for either. So,
no, it wasn't my time yet, and it wasn't the environment for me. So I ended up getting a couple of jobs, and I eventually found a job that I liked, that I was extremely comfortable in for a while. And at this point in time, I had a lot of kind of like repressed emotions and insecurities. And I believe what happened is I just got into a comfortable stage in life, and I forgot about different feelings or a vision that I may have had earlier as a child for who I wanted to become.
Okay. Yeah. Well, around the teenage years, I think we all must go through this in some aspect, because I think there's too much outside influence at that age. There's just so many people are like, you gotta get really good grades, but then you got to apply for all these schools, and then you got to figure out how you're gonna pay your bills, and then you're gonna have to figure out if you're moving out. And it's just a lot,
It is so much. It's so much. And I also kind of think that there's like a rebellious person, like a little rebel inside of everyone. And I think that some people get it out in high school, and then some people get it out in college, and then some don't get it out until like the early 30s or something.
Yeah. They're like, I'm done. I'm done with people. I'm just gonna do what I do, and I'm good.
Yeah. So I stayed in that kind of position for a while, and then in my early 30s, I actually stayed doing that job in that comfort zone. Not even.
What was it? Now I'm curious about this job.
Oh no, it was just like a basic restaurant job, and
okay.
Yeah.
It's comfortable because you like the people, you like the environment, and
it's easy money.
Yeah.
It's Yeah,
Yeah, my first out was restaurant, but it was a hostess. I took money. So I thought it was the coolest position because it was the only person that could take the money in a small restaurant. So yeah.
Were you going home with cash tips?
No, not for hostess. No,
Yeah.
they don't usually. They're like, here, we're just gonna pay the bill. Like, but it was cool because I got to greet everybody as they came in, and then as they left, I took their money. So
Well, as a people person, it's a great job.
yeah.
It's because you're meeting new people all the time, and
Oh
usually
yeah,
they're happy.
it's true. Yeah. Yeah. They look forward to seeing you most times because you're right there at the door. Well, at least at that restaurant, it was one of those that when you leave, you come and pay,
Yeah.
before you go out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I loved working in the restaurant industry, but there was just more for me that I had kind of hidden and forgot about.
Hmm.
So in my early 30s, I lost my father, and that was kind of,
Were you close? I kind of see it. Yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
that was the shift. Because I believe that he had me at a higher pedestal, than I had actually seen myself. He thought that I was more than what I had seen myself as. And I realized that I wanted to become more. So I always say that his last breath was my first breath.
Oh, that's really sweet, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I see
He,
what you're saying in that because you didn't really find your power until that shift, which it's sad, but it's also a good way to remember him too.
oh yeah,
So yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his his powerful being and his powerful heart lives inside of me, and I get to it inspired me to go and take action. So then I ended up going back to community college again. And this time I started getting A's, and I went into a 4-year school, and then I graduated Phi Alpha, and that got me into it got me into University of Southern California.
What were
And
you
that's
going for? Was it hospitality or is it something else?
social work.
It was what?
Social work.
Oh, social work. Okay, so yeah, you were very, of course, with the career that you picked right away. You wanted to be more social, and then you continue through that. So yeah, that's good. I'm glad
Yeah.
that you found that.
Yeah. So when I first started, when I had my undergraduate degree in social work, I was working with young women who were exactly like me. Like I was a youth behavior specialist. It was just really fulfilling and rewarding.
Yeah, I bet because you saw yourself in the what they were going through, and then trying to like find a balance for them based on your story. So yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
So how long did you do the behavioral specialist? Is that how you say it?
Youth behavior specialist. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was when I was in Connecticut, and that was my undergraduate. So that was about 2 years. And then I got accepted into Southern California. And that's how I ended up coming out here.
And that's what you do now currently?
No, so now in my last semester of graduate school, I took a coaching and consultation course,
Uh-huh.
and that changed the trajectory of where I was in life. So now I actually I coach female entrepreneurs who struggle with perfectionism in their business so that they can kind of get visible and obtain clients. And
Oh, okay. I see. Okay. So you moved your skill from the youth and spread it more broad based to businesses that are primarily female, I guess. Do you work
yeah,
with primarily females? Okay.
female
Okay.
entrepreneurs. As I started to grow and evolve, everything about me started to grow. So like right when I finished graduate school, I actually started Love Your Life Community, and that's my
Okay.
coaching business.
Okay. Yeah. Love your life community.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good
Uh,
name.
and then when I started working with women who were having the same self-doubts and shame and worthiness. And it's just evolved into now me working with female entrepreneurs who have those feelings, because
Yeah.
I struggled myself with my business in the beginning.
So what is the number one thing people like first start out with? What is that? What is the, I guess since you've worked with so many people already, what is the common thread? What is the number one thing that people are just usually just like, Melissa, I keep having this, and can you help me with that? What is that question they first come to you with? I'm just
I,
curious about that.
well, I think that for so many of us, not per se you and I, but for a lot of people still, they still associate themselves with like their story or their vision of who they were. Like for me, I wore that high school dropout label for a really, really long time.
I see.
And
Okay.
it kept me from becoming who I wanted to become because I thought that I wouldn't be successful as a high school dropout.
Yeah, because you had that mindset still from the past, and then you related to it as a painful memory. That's why you saw it as a negative. You didn't see it as a positive, obviously, because you're not looking back and going, "I conquered that. I did awesome." You used it like, "Oh, I don't want to tell anybody my story," and I feel kind of crappy about it myself. And so you were still relating to that starting point, basically. And so how did, I guess, where did that shift change where you found, well, you said it was a lot with your dad. So can you explain that? Like, how did your dad's passing put you past that pain in the past?
Well, the first year was obviously more of a depressive, not moving year for me. But as I started to go back to school and I started to take action, it was like action breeded more action in my life. Once I started to actually achieve something, which before I had achieved some stuff, but my mind had been telling me that I hadn't achieved very many things. Yeah. So to have so much consistent action, it catapulted me to continue to want more. It really breathed that life into me.
Yeah, I actually was just having a little bit of conversation about this a little bit earlier today with our first guest of the day. It was basically the Newton's law, where you have to get past that point. You have to give it that momentum, that inertia. And then once you start getting it past that really hard, foggy point, right? And I explained it to like taking off in an airplane. So, you're up there, you're pushing against like all odds. And then you get up and you've got to keep going. You got to keep pushing for it, but it comes a little easier. And then it becomes fun. And then you don't really forget, where you came from, right? But you can say, okay, I did that, but I'm here now. And so, yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, because the high school dropout story became the high school dropout to receiving her master's. And that's the thing, is that like everybody's story, no matter what it is, can be that complete epic shift. It just really like believing in yourself, going through all of those past stories and changing your thoughts to actually, I can do this, like flipping that switch in your head.
Yeah.
And changing the negative to, these are opportunities and possibilities that I can grow and evolve and be more. And then taking action on it.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're coaching, how do you facilitate that? Do you do it like classes, or you do it like one-on-ones, or how do you do your process?
Right now I'm only doing a one-on-one, but in the fall I plan on opening a group for female entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Okay, yeah. So the way you coach, because I get a lot of coaches on here, is it more where you do the one-on-one? Are you building like a structure for them to overcome their past traumas, and then how to resolve that in themselves?
Well, because I'm primarily working with female entrepreneurs, what ends up happening is that with perfectionism, they're afraid to take action. They're constantly staring at the same thing, and they're like, well, maybe it should be 12 font or it should be 14 font. And they spend 2 hours on that.
Okay. Wow. That's definitely what you said. Perfectionism should be the title of it. Yeah, that would be. Wow.
So I teach them how to take like messy, imperfect action and just put it all out there and then keep going, because eventually something is going to stick. But if they don't put it out there, then nothing's ever going to stick.
No, it isn't. So you give them the initial, like, it's okay. Just go ahead and release it and you'll be fine. And I'm here. So, you got me. Just call me
Yeah,
up and we're
did that as well
walk
as like
through
a whole bunch
this.
of business
Yeah.
tools. And, yeah.
And what's that with the schools?
Well, I also add a whole bunch of like business tools where I'm like
Oh, business schools.
focusing on everything that they actually need as far as where their market is, who's their ideal client, what's their copy, and doing the mindset work and then holding them accountable every single week to get all of those steps done.
Okay. So you do this a week to week or
Yeah.
like a session. Okay.
Yeah. Right now, what my thing is I have a 3-month container for one-on-ones.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't want them to get started and then just like not see the results until, they got to continue, just like the plane. You can't just like, I'm good, I'm up in the air,
Yeah.
So it doesn't work that way. You think, you got to
Consistency is
keep,
definitely key.
it up. Yes, definitely. So, what, let me think what I was going to say right here. What books are you reading right now? I'm curious, actually.
Well, so
what's your favorite books right
my
now?
favorite book is The Golden Ticket by Brendon Burchard.
The Golden Ticket by Brendon Burchard.
Yeah.
What is it about? I don't think I've read that one.
It's essentially a story. It takes place in a circus. It's slightly odd, but if you just follow it through, it's all about second chances.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all about having more opportunities and coming through again. Yeah.
Okay.
But I actually just wrote my first book. I don't know if
You
I
did.
shared that stuff.
No,
Yeah.
you didn't. I'm looking at, what I asked. And I for anybody who's listening to the podcast or watching in the YouTube video, I don't ask my guests like anything. I mean, I basically just write down some things. And the reason I do that is because I like to be just as excited to learn about each of our guests as they come on. So yeah, you haven't told me about this book. What is this book?
Well, it'll all make more sense when I say the name as far as where I am right now.
Okay.
It's called Little Miss Perfect.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, Little Miss Perfect.
Yeah, and
So
it'll be out in August.
In August. Oh, so it's really current. Like you are doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it entail? Is it a story or is it a workbook?
It's a narrative memoir of my story and my struggles from when I was an adolescent to where I am now.
Okay.
But for me, a lot of my problems were my parents had an arranged marriage when I was younger.
They had a what? Arranged?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of like family beliefs that were placed on me. And I think that that's, not the full reason, but some of the reason why I was so rebellious when I was younger. Definitely not the full reason. I take huge blame. But I had a very hard time separating my own values from the values of my parents.
Yeah. Now that actually brings me up a question. So were you supposed to be in arranged marriage? Were you supposed to be in an arranged marriage then?
Me personally?
Yes.
Not technically, no. But I did kind of feel as if there was that pressure because we were both, I'm 100% Portuguese. So we attended Portuguese school. I went to Portuguese school like 3 hours each day after regular school. We had church. We had all of these different dances. And it was kind of like, who's going to connect with who? That wasn't really said, but that was the impression.
Is that how your parents got together? So in Portuguese, it's normal to have arranged marriages, or how did that come about?
No, it's not normal by any means. I mean, this is my mother and father's story. It was very unique. My father is 9 years older than my mom.
Okay.
And they lived in the same small town in Portugal, but because of the age difference, they didn't know each other very well. And my father was in the Navy and he was stationed in Africa. He was stationed in Angola for a while. And he came back and he kind of looked at my mom. He had a little bit of a crush on her, and they danced at a dance in town. And there was a rumor going around that my mother had given her virginity to my dad.
Yeah.
And because of that, my mother's father made them get married.
Very interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you made your choice, so
Yeah.
you're gonna have to stick with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
then 5 weeks after that, they both came to the United States.
okay, cool. So did your mom deny this? She was like, nothing like that happened. So like later on.
It's their story. I mean, like, I feel like with everything, it's evolved. You know how if you tell yourself something for so long, even if it's not true, you believe
That's
it.
true. Yeah, yeah. It's programming, basically. You're basically reprogramming yourself. And it's the same thing with any mindset course or class or whatever. Even what you're doing, your coaching, even if you need help or you could do it yourself, it's really hard doing it yourself. It's a lot easier with a coach. So I highly recommend you get in touch with Melissa if you need that initial push. But, it's the same thing. It's the repetition, and you're reprogramming those past doubts, those past traumas, whatever you're pushing through, even now, like if it's something you're going through now. Yeah, so it's all with programming, or you can even say it's like self-hypnosis.
In such a way, because you can carry a story with you that may not have even happened.
Yeah.
You've switched it over the years and turned it into something else. So this is a story that I heard when I was younger. Who knows what the actual truth is right now? I think it's
a good story though.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep it like that. So yeah, that's good. That's good. So let's see what I was gonna say. So you did the youth help, and then you went to college, and then you became a coach, and now you're writing a book and a course, so you're staying pretty busy. And how do you do it for yourself? How do you stay so perfect and on track? Or are you have like a mantra or something that you're
Oh no, I do not. I accept that nothing is ever perfect, and it's just funny. Like, even with all of my videos, I'm like, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and now if I trip over a word or something, I keep going and I make it clear on the video, like, you should not expect perfect from me. This is not going to happen. But yeah, so as far as like happiness and being fulfilled, right now I am a block away from the ocean.
Oh,
And yeah, that is a big thing for me. Like, I love riding my beach cruiser and for lunch breaks, and like, my heart is really full and happy where I'm at right now.
that's really nice. And a beach cruiser's a bike, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. So,
It doesn't have any gears.
okay, so it's a single speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it have the big, thick beach wheels? Are you on one of those yet?
No, mine's not an electric, but I have a friend who has
No, not electric. Those, have you seen the beach bikes? Like the wheels are like literally like this, and people are riding on the beach, and they're going like, I don't know, maybe like 2 miles an hour or something, like super slow. Like you can really walk by them. But what the endurance looks amazing. Like just to keep trying to pedal it to get through the sand. Yeah.
I am like that, like old school, like beach cruiser, like tiny bike with a basket, like.
Oh, well, that's perfect for the beach, though.
Yeah,
that's perfect. So you can like pick up things on the way with your basket. Like,
yeah.
You collect stuff. I collect stuff on the beach.
I put my speaker in it.
You what? You put your speaker in it?
Speaker.
Oh, well, there you go. That's the perfect day right there. I'm imagining, now. I'm just like, that would be a good day for me. Just get me on the bike, throw a speaker in, and go to the beach. Yeah.
Riding by the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect day. So we declared here that Melissa is not totally perfect, even though she does have the tools necessary to lift herself up every day and give it her best. And she can push through everything in doing so. So you talked about your book, and you talked about, people that are limiting their stories and things like that. Who is your most I don't want to say difficult. Who so far has entered into your coaching practice, and just like it took a while to really like had her see that she was powerful. Is there any like really good stories that you could tell us that, people here that are listening or watching can resonate with,
It's so great. I have worked with some amazing women, and I really do think that sometimes it's every single woman every single human being has a story that they tell themselves. There's some layer underneath that masks some insecurity, and you might not be able to see it, but it's definitely there, or they've spent their years working on it to change it.
Yeah.
But I have worked with some incredible women who carried so much shame and feelings and abandonment with them that they didn't even want to show themselves on camera, So for me, some of the biggest changes are actually seeing people show up on camera and smiling and not feeling uncomfortable and just being authentic, just that really resonates with me so much. I have worked with women who have wrote books and who have like pitched for TEDx and like crazy things, but like those little things are like, to me, sometimes the most important, because we all have a story, and my story might not resonate with someone else, but their story might,
No, I like that. I like how you said that, because that's so true. Because even in my own story, like I had a point that I didn't want to show up on camera. I didn't want pictures taken of me. I didn't feel like I was worthy of being noticed or talked to or anything. So yeah, I can see that, and that has to be, the first step. Definitely, just say, it's okay. I'm here. What can I help you with? And then to them just actually finding their voice to actually say what they're going through. That's a process in itself, beyond the coaching, beyond the, hey, it's okay that, you put the font at 16 and you're stressing out because now it's published and now you want to change it to 14, so.
And I'm thinking while you're talking, I'm like, but look at you now. Like, look at you now. You're
oh yeah.
Like, it's just,
it took me a while. It took me I would say my journey started in 2016. So how many years is that? 3, I think. Yeah. So yeah.
How did you go from not being wanting to be seen to like the complete opposite?
Well, I can't go too much into my story, but I'm going through a divorce, and it came from a lot of abandonment as a child, and then through my ex, and then seeing that mask uncovered, that I didn't really notice until he was out of my life. And then that questioned my whole reality, because this relationship was 20 years. And so I questioned everything. Like I questioned, who I was. I questioned people around me. I questioned everything. And of course that made me very insecure. And I decided to take a risk, and I was like, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to feel like this. And seriously talking to myself out loud, and like, I hate the way I feel. I hate the way, because at that time I was still, I was a leader in Girl Scouts for 8 years. And so I was comfortable on stage talking to a group of girls. I've homeschooled my kids for 15, been a part of different co-ops, taught art classes, done art shows, things like that. So I knew I was this other person, right? Like I knew that was in me, but I was being told by my significant other that I was none of that, like all the time. This was a constant conversation. Like this was my whole life. Like, so it's funny how I saw myself in one way, but then when somebody else sees you differently and they keep reinforcing and reinforcing and reinforcing and reinforcing and reinforcing it and reinforcing it, you're like, well, maybe I am that person because he sees me as that. He sees me as that. So everybody must see me as that. And it wasn't until, like I said, the actual separation. And then I was just like, I totally went like quiet for a couple weeks. I kind of did like the whole like group thing. I joined other groups that talked about, hot feelings basically, and abuse and things like that. And so I resonated with some people, and I wanted to help them because I saw they were still stuck in the relationship. And so that's how my journey actually started, by helping other people. And I felt really good because people then started coming to me, like friends I've known for like 10 years. And I say, hey, listen, I've been in this relationship 20 years and this is, this is kind of how I feel. This is what's kind of going on, and then some people know the whole story. So, and then seeing me be more vocal about it and more upfront and showing up more, that they would come to me at night, at late night, early morning, when they didn't feel like, pressured, when they didn't have all that outside pressure. And they would tell me things that they never told anybody. And it made me feel really special. And I'll never disclose what,
Yeah.
they told me. But then just try to like advise them and just like, hey, you can get through this, you can do it. And that made me feel stronger. And of course, it was a lot of ups and downs over the last couple of years. But then I finally got to a point, so I'm just like, why do I keep pulling myself back? Why do I keep putting this block? I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I'm going for. And I'm just going to start doing it, And so that's how pretty much everything shifted for me. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you found your strength.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, like you said, everybody has a story, and this is why the Message of Hope, stories from struggle to success, exist. And I'm just very honored that you, Melissa, and all the other guests already, came on and still is coming on to share their story, because it's makes me feel really special that I can give you guys a network to share that with other people, to learn and grow and hopefully find their hope in the message. And as they continually listen to the station at One Up Podcast, or see the videos at Amena.media, they'll start to see the consistency. They'll start to see that they went through the inertia, right? They went through the push, but with these messages through various people and various stories, they're going to start seeing themselves in the story. And then with that, that's going to give them the strength they need to push beyond where they're at. So that is why the show exists. And like I said, totally honored and grateful to be doing this. So, yeah.
It's so beautiful. And it's exactly like we said, like my story might not resonate with someone, but the next person's might. And that's great.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I know we all had different stories, but yet we all can find a common human thread in between them all, right? Like you said, you went through this difficult period, but it kept drawing you back. And that's the common thread you teach now with your coaching. So with that common thread, you feel more human. You feel like you can relate to pretty much anybody, as long as you don't like categorize them or put them into, that's them, not me. I never liked labels. I refuse to use them, and I try my best. I'm probably sure I'm just like any other human, so I'm probably sure I probably used a few over my lifetime, but I make it my own like a boundary line for myself that I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because everybody's different. And we need to look inside the pages and not just look at the cover. So, yeah. So, Melissa, so your book is coming out in August. And what is the next project after this? Do you already have like a timeline? So this is like all August stuff we're talking about. Is there something else that you are?
Well, yeah. So actually on, it's so funny. On Monday, July 6th, I'm doing a 5-day challenge, which is for free. And it's how to take messy, imperfect action in your business.
Okay. So that starts what day?
Monday, July 6th.
Oh, Monday, July 6th. So not this Monday, but the following one after the holiday.
Yep.
Okay. And so that is what, 5 days?
A 5-day free challenge.
Okay.
But the 5th day actually ends up in a masterclass. And that is just like how to get visible and show the heck up in your business. Like that's it. And it's just really fun. It's all different tools to go from like deciding to doing to like, there's a 120-second proven process of like how you can actually connect it with your clients authentically. Like it's just good stuff that's actionable. And achievable.
Yeah, and it's already planned out, so people don't have to like seriously think about it either. And you're going to be there to coach them along the way as well. So with that, you said it's an online course. So is it like a Zoom or?
So there's going to be a Facebook group attached to it. So they sign up at my website. They'll see the Imperfect Action Challenge. They sign up there. If they sign up between next Monday and the 6th, there'll be 3 bonus videos, kind of like the pre-warm-up, kind of like to shift your energy.
Yeah.
And then Monday, July 6th, it starts.
Okay. And what was your website? I don't think I had that down.
Loveyourlifecommunity.com.
Okay. So that is the website's name as well. So community, all spelled out, right? No spaces or anything like that, .com. Okay. And then we can go there.
You can find me and on my website, and all of my socials are the same thing as well.
Okay. Well, that keeps it easy. So you're on like Instagram and LinkedIn as well. And then Facebook, I know, because that's how we met. So can people contact you directly through Facebook as well? Okay. Okay. I'll put that on there. So all this information will be on the podcast in the description, as well as on the YouTube video, so they can get this information. So yeah. She's cheering here. She's like, hey, I got a cheerleader. Now we need pom-poms. I'm so not a cheerleader. I tried that for like a year. I'm like, this is totally not me.
Yeah, I wasn't either. Obviously not. I wasn't in school.
Well, mine was an after-school type of thing, and my stepbrothers, they were football players, and I was the only girl, so they were just like, "You should be a cheerleader," and I'm just like, so I tried it because I was bored, and I was like, "This is totally not me." So yeah, I dropped out. So we started our whole journey here today, right? I was a dropout cheerleader.
That's funny. That's like, sounds like a movie name.
What's that? Dropout cheerleader?
It sounds like a romantic comedy.
There we go. The romantic comedy. The Dropouts, right? Yeah. So Melissa, thank you for coming on today. Is there any final message that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Well, thank you again for having me. I think one of my favorite mantras or affirmations, and something that I just tell myself every day, is to allow my purpose to be greater than my ego.
To allow your purpose to be greater than your ego.
Yeah.
That was a long one. I got it. Yeah. So let me think of it now. So it's fine. Okay. So your purpose is greater than your ego, meaning that you have more drive, or how would you explain it? I'll just ask you to explain it.
Yeah. It means that you show up guided by your purpose and not the insecurities or thoughts in your head.
Okay. I see what you're saying. And that's perfect for our whole conversation with perfection here as well. So yeah, thank you again, Melissa. It's been fun. It's good seeing you. Enjoy the beach. I bet it's gorgeous outside today, like every day at the beach, other than when it's like really windy, right? So take care. Thank you again. And for all our audience that's watching the live today, thank you so much for being an active viewer. You can go subscribe at the YouTube channel to see this episode. This is episode number 23. You can go on the web browser, amena.media, to get to the YouTube channel. To see the podcast or to listen to the podcast, you can go to anchor.fm/oneup, and that's spelled out. So anchor, like a boat anchor, .fm/oneup, and then you can go to the One Up podcast to hear this amazing story of message of hope from struggle to success with Melissa Fino. I got it. Thank you again, Melissa. It's been fun. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.